Oh, they've been playing on the radio. Oh, I love that. She said, I love that song, The Ghetto. He said, I know somebody who knows Donny Hathaway. And he knew somebody who knew somebody who knew Donny Hathaway. And they got Nadine McKenna to Donny Hathaway, and the rest, as they say, is history. Donny Hathaway tweaked it a little bit and put this song out, and it is now being covered by everybody in their mama. I was listening to the radio the other day and heard a country version of This Christmas. Everybody has covered this track. That's Chris Breezy. But it's been covered by a little bit of everybody. And so we have Nadine McKenna on every year just to tell a bit more about that story. A year or so ago, she suffered a stroke, and so last year she was not in position and in the right condition to appear on this program. But I reached out the other day, and Nadine McKenna is going to come on again this year. It's our holiday tradition to talk to the woman, the black woman who wrote the Christmas song. For all of us, it ain't Christmas until we hear Donny Hathaway or any number of the other versions of that song that we all love so much. So Nadine McKenna will be on this program, I think, next week, and I look forward to talking to her and welcoming her back to this annual tradition that we have every year, except last year. But I'm delighted and grateful that God has spared her life, and she'll join us again next week to tell you that story in greater detail about how she actually wrote the song, the lyrics, and all that stuff. It's a great story that she tells every year on this program. In this hour, two conversations on the B side. We'll be joined by Donna Beisel of the Rosa Parks Museum at Troy University to discuss a new exhibit with some never-before-seen photos. A new exhibit about the mother of the civil rights movement. We'll talk about Rosa Parks on the back side of this hour. We commence this hour with George Mason's Dr. Michael Fauntroy. He is associate professor and founding director of the Race, Politics, and Policy Center at George Mason, and always honored to have him on the program. Happy holidays, Michael. How are you, sir?
Likewise, good brother. I'm doing all right.
It's good to hear your voice, man. So I wanted you on because there have been so many conversations, of course, of late, and this is nothing new here. But we've entered this new phase where Donald Trump has found a way, essentially, to flip America's race conversation. And he's doing it in such a way where he's being applauded by his own cabinet. He's not being taken to task, as I think he ought, by the corporate media. We're doing our part here in black media, of course, to hold him accountable. But his cabinet literally applauded him when he described Somali immigrants as garbage who contribute nothing. And he's gone in so many ways. And some of the stuff he's advancing, his war against D&I, to my mind, is really just a cover for simple racism. But he's getting worse and worse about this every day and not being held accountable for it. Dr. Cornel West was on this program yesterday, and he and I both believe it's just a matter of time. Leonard Pitts Jr. said the same thing yesterday. That word nigger is going to slip out of his mouth at some point, if it already hasn't, on tape somewhere. But he's just becoming so unhinged in the way he's demeaning people that you know it's just a matter of time before he crosses a line. And when he crosses that line, we'll see if there's any price he pays for that. But I got just 2 minutes here right quick for you to just sort of set the frame, and we got the rest of the half hour to sort of unpack it. But what's your opening salvo here, your opening thought about how Trump has gone about flipping America's race conversation?
I think it's not flipping as much as extending.
Okay.
Here's what I mean by that. He's not the first Republican president to traffic in this. The difference is he is extending it well beyond what reasonable people have ever thought could happen. Remember, George H.W. Bush, when he was running for the presidency in 1988, made a dude named Willie Horton famous that trafficked in all kind of racial stereotypes about black men. Ronald Reagan talked a lot about welfare queens as a way to degrade and dehumanize black women as a justification to cutting social program spending. Trump has just sort of pulled all of the nicety off of that and is extending it in ways that we've never seen before, and extends from his own first campaign. Remember, in 2017, he was talking about the good people on both sides in reference to what happened in Charlottesville, right? So this is not new. It's dangerous. It's worrisome. And unfortunately, there's no sort of interest in Congress to hold him accountable. And the only break I see on that is the potential for the 2026 elections to go very badly for the Republican Party.
Let me add to your list right quick. 1976, Secretary of Agriculture Earl Butz was forced to resign after telling a racist joke about black Americans on a flight returning from the GOP convention. 2002, Senate Majority Leader Trent Lott, remember him, Michael? Trent Lott, pressured to step down after praising Strom Thurmond's 1948 segregationist presidential campaign. Even during Trump's first term, Steve King of Iowa was censured and removed from committees for questioning why terms such as white nationalists and white supremacists had become offensive. I could do this all day long if I had the time, of high-profile electeds who literally lost their seats, were pushed out of office because they were trading in racism. Donald Trump is doing this more and more every day. And again, nobody is talking about daring to hold him accountable. How far will he go? Put another way, how much of this will we tolerate? Just getting started with Michael Fauntroy here on Tavis Smiley.
Generous listening. Charitable listening. It's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take Dayquil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the Dayquil.
Undo your flu symptoms with Dayquil Intense Flu. Dayquil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
Dayquil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu, medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Nugget Bills, nuggets all the way.
Hi, I'm Kylie.
I'm John.
And I'm Garrison.
And a little thing we love about the 30-count Chick-fil-A nuggets
is sharing them when we cut down the Christmas tree.
We will pack the car with gifts. And of course, we go and pick up our family's favorite nuggets.
Every nugget is tasty times quadrillion.
And we get all the sides.
Yeah, the ooey gooey mac and cheese is a big hit.
Share the nuggets, share the joy. Order the 30-count Chick-fil-A nuggets on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. All investments involve risk, including loss of principal. Options, futures, and crypto trading carry significant risk and may not suit all investors. Securities offered through Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Futures trading is offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Crypto offered through Robinhood Crypto LLC, NMLS ID 1702840, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Portfolio management offered by Robinhood Strategies, an SEC registered advisor.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed with Michael Fauntroy, founding director of the Race, Politics, and Policy Center at George Mason University. Always thrilled to be in conversation with my friend and brother, Michael Fauntroy. So I love your word earlier. I said, I said flip. You went with extend. I get that. But I tried to give a list a moment ago. I did give a list a moment ago. Could have gone longer, Michael, of politicians on our watch. You've been around for a little while. I've been around for a little bit longer. And we've seen so many politicos who are race trading, who it ends up costing them their career. Not only is Donald Trump not being held accountable, not only is it not costing his career, he's being applauded for it. He's being celebrated for it. And it's hard for me to imagine, where and whether there is a line that he can cross that would, raise the specter of holding him accountable. Is there no line for Donald Trump?
I think the line is further along than it would be for everybody else, in part because his rise in American politics isn't fueled by reason or public policy. It's fueled by anger, hatred, and ignorance. And as a result, those who are enthralled by him on anger, hatred, and ignorance, they're getting what they want. And unfortunately, they still represent, estimate a third of the electorate, generally speaking. And so until that begins to flip, to use your word, flip a little more, I think he's still got a base that can keep him inoculated. Now, here's the rub. Economy keeps turning in the wrong direction. You got these elections in 2026, and there will be Republicans running for election and re-election who by March, April or so are going to continue to get nervous if things go as they seem to be going right now. That might lead to some accountability. And I hate to even speculate on this, but it's very possible that someone who is unworthy, say Marjorie Taylor Greene, may actually be the one who in the Republican Party could facilitate the start of some kind of accountability.
How likely?
And think about that for a second. Sure. We got to rely on her.
Yeah, no, I get it. How likely do you think that is, given the way she has, in fact, been moving, showing up of late, including that 60 Minutes interview on Sunday night?
Look, I can't rely on her, to be the one. If she's the one, then we're in trouble. But I do think that there are some schisms that are beginning to happen among Republicans, and she actually represents a little bit of that schism. And if people are serious, and people get more serious when their re-elections are on the line, it's possible that you could begin to see a small number break off. Now, you don't need a lot, given the 50-50 nature of the House of Representatives and nearly 50-50 in the Senate. You don't need a lot, but you do need some, and until we get there, we're going to continue to get what we've gotten.
Yeah. One of the things I've noticed, and I was reading a piece about this about my friend Robert Kuttner in the American's Prospect not long ago. He lays on this point in the piece that I was reading, and I just want to just sort of reprise it for this conversation, reprise at least, or extend, to use your word, what I was reading from Kuttner. And he argues that part of the game that Donald Trump has played, certainly as it relates to colleges and universities, you were at one, George Mason. We have discussed your president on this program, standing firm against the Trump administration, a black man, president of George Mason University, where others have been bending the knee, literally from California to the Carolinas, in academia. Your president has stood firm. But we have seen Donald Trump, I think, disingenuously pose as a champion of the Jewish community. And what Kuttner argues in this piece I read in the American Prospect, Michael, is that disingenuous posturing as a champion of our Jewish brothers and sisters is a way to divert attention away from the hell that he's raining down on black folk, on women, on sexual minorities, and others who suffered far more forms of vicious discrimination in this country. Is Kuttner onto something there?
I think he may be. There's no question that Trump specializes in diversions. We see it right now with regard to this whole Jeffrey Epstein thing. He throws red meat in one corner, hoping to divert your attention from what's going on in the other corner. So there's no question that there's something to be said for that. And I read the Kuttner piece too, and he points to uses as an example, someone where I used to work at the Library of Congress, where Carla Hayden, who was the Black Librarian of Congress, a underrated but extremely important position in America's sort of educational and cultural zeitgeist, is profiled. And so, yes, I think there's a lot of that. I think that he wants to appear to be everything to everybody, understanding that this is a fire hose, and that some people are going to miss some of the things that are going on in one direction because he's doing dirt in the other.
We talked to Jamie Harrison, former DNC chair, in the first hour, and I got a chance to on behalf of this audience, do a sort of post-mortem with him about what, in fact, did happen a year ago and since. So we had, a spirited drill down with him in that first hour. And I was saying to him that the phrase that Democrats kept using during the campaign was that Donald Trump is an existential threat to our democracy. And my thought was, if he's all that, we got to find a way to take him out now. If he's an existential threat to the democracy, but put a pin in that. So, but now we find ourselves in a variety of conversations about Donald Trump sort of being an outlier. And the word people use all the time is not outlier, but unprecedented. The word then was existential. The word now is unprecedented. Every time he does something, it is unprecedented. Here's why I'm drilling down on this. Because at the moment, we may see Donald Trump as an outlier when it comes to advancing notions of racial animus, racial discrimination. He's an outlier at the moment. Again, Jamie said in the first hour, we've seen nothing like him. I think the metaphor Jamie used was he lives in hurricane country down in North Carolina. You see a 1 or a 2, category 1 or 2 storm. You don't take it for granted, but you sort of get used to that when you live in hurricane country. Category 5 comes through, it gets everybody's attention, right? So he compares Trump not to a hurricane, not to a category 1 or 2, but to a category 5. So again, Donald Trump, in many respects, is an outlier at the moment. But I'm concerned about whether or not the stuff that Donald Trump is getting away with in the realm of racism then becomes a pattern for other folk to follow him. Because again, if he can get away with this, whereas other politicians prior to have been held accountable and pushed out, had forced to resign, he's setting, you take my point, he's setting a new standard. Put another way, he's lowering the bar. So I don't want us to think of him just as an outlier in this moment. He could be establishing a new pattern, Michael.
Well, he's not an outlier. He is just vocalizing what others have felt for years and just never said it. And in that regard, he may be unprecedented in terms of his behavior. Mm-hmm. What concerns me most about this is that somewhere there's a 25-year-old right now who's going to be more polished and better at governing than Trump is. And in other words, there are people going to school on him right now, and they will polish their game a little better, and they won't have the crumbling brain that he seems to have right now, and they'll be sharper and even more aggressive. And those are the ones that I am even more worried about than Trump. I am worried about Trump. I think he is an existential threat. I think he is all of the worst things that America has ever had to offer. I think he's an absolute disgrace. But I also think he will pass, and we just have to make sure that the next group knows that he can't be replicated.
So help me imagine what America looks like as we become, some years from now, the first time in our history, a majority-minority country. But at the same time, we're sprouting up a bunch of Charlie Kirks all over the place.
So I think that majority-minority country thing is going to happen. Obviously, the demographics are what they are. But this is interesting. It's interesting you raise that here, because I think the group that's in charge right now here in D.C. want to push that date back as far as they possibly can.
No question.
And that helps explain all of the white nationalism that you're seeing coming up in the public discourse, the policy making, and all of that. I think that those of us who aren't with that world have to do more to create alternatives to Charlie Kirk, who are truth tellers, who are engaged in the grassroots, as you well know, because we are now in a new fight that I can't imagine that my parents' generation thought that we would be in.
Yep. I put it this way. We're saying the same thing. You can't change the game. You change the rules. They can't change the game. They can't slow down the data. The data is incontrovertible. We are, again, moving toward that day when we will be a majority-minority country. So you can't change the game. What do? You change the rules. So Michael and I agree. Everything that Donald Trump and his ilk are doing right now is about changing the rules to slow down the impact of that day that, though it tarry, will come. That day is coming. They're just trying to slow down and diffuse the impact of it. You can't change the game, you change the rules. Here's what's troubling me as well, though. I'm looking at a mainstream media, and I prefer to call them a corporate media. That's exactly what it is. When you look at, Netflix trying to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. You look at Paramount now with a hostile takeover bid. You see, again, us moving more and more toward a monopolistic media. It's already that anyway, but it's becoming more and more monopolistic by the day. Doesn't matter to me whether Netflix get it. Well, it does matter, but whether Netflix gets it or Paramount gets it, Warner Brothers Discovery, you're going to create another monopoly. And we have fewer choices. Right. That's the bottom line. But in that process, there are conversations about what happens to CNN, for example, because Netflix doesn't want the cable pieces in their purchase of Warner Brothers Discovery. They just want that. They want that film library. They don't care about the cable pieces. Paramount's hostile takeover bid, they want all of it. And why does this matter? It's inside baseball, but the point I'm making here is that the mainstream media, the corporate media, is becoming more monopolized. It's becoming more corporatized, and Donald Trump's racism is becoming more normalized. I see this every day, Michael, and you see it as well. That Donald Trump is just kicking black folk in the face, in the teeth every single day. The language, the racist language, the racist tropes, and the corporate media is not in any meaningful, significant, or sustained way holding him accountable. They cover this stuff, again, as if it's another normal day in the Trump White House. And it's one thing for this racism to be normalized by the leader of the free world. It's another thing when that fourth estate normalizes this behavior by our politicians. Take my point.
Yes, and I want to add quickly because I know we're coming up on time.
Yep.
The president is moving in a new direction, and our corporate media is letting them slide.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not pushing back in any meaningful way. Can you imagine? By the way, this consolidation you're talking about is what those who were warning against this in the early 80s during the Reagan years when it started, this is what they feared.
Yep.
A conglomeration of media in the hands of small groups that control what we hear, see, and by virtue of controlling what we hear and see, what we think. And so I think that we don't have what we need yet, although there are some seeds. I really like what can potentially happen on things like YouTube and other social platforms to help provide alternative news. And hopefully we'll continue to push in that direction.
Trump's racism is becoming more and more flagrant, more and more flagrant by the day. And I was in conversation about this yesterday, have been in a number of conversations because I'm working on something here at our station in L.A. And when you see all these black faces being disappeared in the corporate media, MSNBC fires all the Negroes over there. And then CBS lets Michelle Miller go, the wife of Mark Morial, president of the Urban League. That didn't stop his wife from being let go by CBS. You saw the news over the weekend that Maurice Dubois is being pushed out as the co-anchor of the CBS Evening News. And on I could go with all these black faces being disappeared in mainstream media.
And all the behind-the-scenes producers behind the scenes who are also being disappeared.
And all the conversation about whether or not they're going to renew Gale's contract next year when it's up. The point is that black faces in those spaces are being disappeared, and this is why the black media is more relevant and more necessary now, because we're not being allowed to have our say in those monopolized, corporatized, normalized spaces, and that's why black media matters now more than ever. I'll leave it there for now. He's a professor and founding director of the Race, Politics, and Policy Center at George Mason University. He is Michael K. Fauntroy. Always thrilled to have him on this program. Michael, I'll talk to you soon. Good brother. Stay strong.
You too, man. Peace.
More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
Why does Tavis say when we come forward?
Because he's not going back.
And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever, backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The Archdiocese of New Orleans bankruptcy case is over. A federal judge approved a $230 million settlement for survivors of clergy sexual abuse. Survivor Tim Trahan says he's relieved.
The pain and the suffering that I've been through will now enable me just to be a stronger person.
The Archdiocese filed for bankruptcy in 2020 after hundreds of abuse claims. A man linked to the shooting of New York Jets cornerback Chris Boyd turned himself into Buffalo police. The 20-year-old surrendered 3 weeks after Boyd was shot outside a Manhattan bar. No charges yet as investigators review surveillance and witness accounts. And Whoopi Goldberg is a great-grandmother again. The 70-year-old star announced on The View that her grandson welcomed a baby girl named Lotus Dean. Whoopi said she prefers her great-grandkids call her Whoopi, keeping the family fun and unconventional. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A weird game at SoFi Stadium last night, but the Chargers hung on and got the W. They beat Philadelphia 22-19 in overtime, a game that had 8 turnovers. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert was sacked 7 times. Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts had 4 interceptions. The last one ended a potential game-winning drive in overtime at the 1-yard line. The Chargers are 9-4. HBCU Florida A&M is looking for a new head football coach. James Cozy was fired Monday. Cozy was 12-12 in 2 seasons, including 5-7 this year. Gotta give a shout out to my alma mater, Illinois State University. The football team is coming to California this weekend to play UC Davis Saturday in the quarterfinals of the Division I AA playoffs. We're coming to Cali after knocking off the #1 team in the nation, undefeated North Dakota State, 29-28. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This holiday season, KBLA Talk 1580 wishes you and yours joy, peace, and prosperity. As we celebrate with family and friends, we're already looking forward to an exciting first quarter, packed with must-attend events to kick off the new year just right. In January, join us for our inaugural Brotherhood Brunch, bringing together community leaders, change makers, and everyday people for inspiration and connection. February means it's time for our signature Black History Month luncheon, a powerful celebration you won't want to miss. And in March, Women's History Month, we're once again hosting our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium and Luncheon, addressing the issues that matter most inside our community. From all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, happy holidays. Stay tuned for more details on these incredible upcoming events. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice, your community, your power.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
With the new IHOP value menu,
$6 is all it takes to go to your happy plate, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take Dayquil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the Dayquil.
Undo your flu symptoms with Dayquil Intense Flu. Dayquil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
Dayquil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu, medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
And the top-rated African-American talk show host in the nation, according to Talkers Magazine. You're tapped in with Tavis Smiley right now.
Tavis Smiley and Donna Beisel, who's director of museum operations at the Rosa Parks Museum at Troy University in Montgomery, Alabama. I invited her on to talk about this new exhibit featuring never-before-seen photos of the mother of the civil rights movement, Mrs. Rosa Parks. Donna, how are you today? Good to have you on the program. Oh, Donna, is your mute button on? Undo your mute button, Donna, if you're on mute. Donna, can you hear me now? Who's holding Donna? Who's holding Donna now? We've been having this problem too much of late on these Zoom conversations, and it's driving me crazy. We get them online, and they're there. I can see them, but they can't hear me. I can't hear them. It's problematic. As I said, it's live radio. These things happen, but this is the third time this week, Miles and Faraji. We got to arrest this development. I'm ready to talk, and we can't get no conversation going. Anyway, there is a new exhibit about Rosa Parks at the Rosa Parks Museum at Troy University in Montgomery. As I mentioned a moment ago, of course, we all know Montgomery is out of the bus boycott. We discussed that on this program last week. Last week, as I recall, was the last week? Yeah, last week. The 70th anniversary of Rosa Parks refusing to give up her seat on that bus. It's been 70 years since she sparked that movement. She sat there, and she said to me any number of times in our private conversations, Mrs. Parks, who I am honored to have had a friendship with, said to me any number of times she was thinking about Emmett Till while she was sitting in that seat. And that murder had happened some years prior, of course. And so she stayed in that seat thinking about Emmett Till, and that the anniversary again of her refusing to give up that seat was just last week, 70 years on. But there are some new, never-before-seen photos of Rosa Parks at the Selma to Montgomery March in 1965. Those uncovered, unearthed photos were released to the Rosa Parks Museum, and they make up, in part, this new exhibition. All right, Donna, I'm going to try this again. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I can. Thank you.
There you are. Good to hear you. Good to hear you. First of all, good to have you on the program. How are you today?
I am doing well. How are you?
If I complained, I'd be an ingrate. I am doing well, and all things considered, and honored to be in conversation with you. I was just saying while I was waiting for you to come online that I had the honor of befriending Mrs. Parks during her lifetime, and we went to church together. I took her to many, many churches here in L.A., where she'd spend the winter months when she got out of cold and frigid Detroit. My very first book signing was sitting. I was seated alongside Rosa Parks. I was signing a book. She was signing a book, and so I every time her name is mentioned, I get goosebumps just thinking about the friendship that I was blessed to have with her. But I love the fact that this exhibit is featuring never-before-seen photos of her from this Selma to Montgomery March in 1965. Tell me more.
Well, most people, or many people anyway, when they come to the museum, they think they have this idea of who Mrs. Parks was and what she did. Mm-hmm. But as I have had conversations with countless people, they know just a tiny fraction of the activist work she did, both before and after her event here in Montgomery. Mm-hmm. And so we've been working for a while to try to develop a permanent exhibit that examines more of her life and activism. And we've been working with the Library of Congress to try to get much of her personal collection here to create that exhibit. But in the meantime, while we are trying to raise funds for that permanent exhibit, we decided to have a temporary gallery opening, coincided with December 1st, her 70th or the 70th anniversary of her arrest, as you mentioned. And it will run for 382 days, the length of the boycott.
I love it. I love it. I love that. Yeah.
Thank you. And during conversations with one of the friends of the museum, Michael DiMaggio, he mentioned that he had been in contact with Janine Heron, who is the widow of civil rights photojournalist Matt Heron. And Matt had countless photos documenting the Selma to Montgomery voting rights march. And so I asked Michael, as he was going through these photos, if he had seen any of Mrs. Parks. And he made the comment that he didn't realize she had been involved in that too. And so I explained to him that she didn't march the whole way, but she did get involved that last leg from the city of St. Jude to the Alabama State Capitol, and that she was one of the speakers on the flatbed that was pulled up because the city wouldn't allow Dr. King and the others to speak on the Capitol steps. And so I and my colleague, Ashley Reddick, who is our fundraising manager at the museum, met with Michael and went through, I don't even know how many contact sheets of photographs that Matt had from that event. And we found quite a few of Mrs. Parks, some really great ones, a group shot of all of the speakers on the stage, a group shot of her with Dr. King, Mrs. King, Reverend Ralph David Abernathy, John Lewis, marching on that final leg. And those two especially we wanted to include. But then there are a couple of her as she was speaking, and you can see the passion in her face as she is speaking about voting rights. And many people have this idea of her as this very quiet, very shy, demure lady. And she certainly was those things, but she also had a fire and a passion.
That's right.
And was not going to be run over and was going to stand up for and fight against the injustices that she saw. And so those pictures we decided we really wanted to include in this exhibit. And Janine Heron was gracious enough to gift us copies of several of the other photos, but the one of her speaking at the Capitol, she donated, and it is signed by Matt Heron. And so she donated that to the museum to be included in the temporary gallery that we have right now, and then the planned permanent exhibit once we raise the funds and get that going.
Now, these photos are amazing. I have many of them in my hand right now here in the studio, and I was going through them last night and just got, again, goosebumps looking at these photos because, again, I spent a lot of time with Mrs. Parks in her latter years, and she was sort of quiet and sort of demure as she aged, but that fire was always in her belly. And to see her in these photos with this bank of microphones, all these microphones in front of her, and to see how animated she is, her hand is up in the air, and Rosa Parks is going in.
Absolutely.
And the photos tell such an amazing story, again, that sort of contrast to the Rosa Parks that many of us saw, again, in her latter years. And these photos, as you mentioned, have so many amazing, iconic African Americans in these photos. You mentioned a number of the names. I'm also looking at one photo right now, standing behind her. I see there's Abernathy, of course, but also I see Charles Evers. Charles Evers is the brother of Medgar Evers. So Charles Evers was there that day representing the Evers family. So just so many iconic African Americans who were participants in that Selma to Montgomery march, and certainly even those who didn't make the entire march, like Mrs. Parks, they were all there when they got to Montgomery to participate in this major rally and press conference. And so these pictures of Mrs. Parks tell a story about her that most of us just don't know. When we come forward, I want to pick up on the notion that you raised earlier and give you a chance to sort of drill down a bit more on why it is so important to the museum, and frankly, why it is important to all the rest of us who will visit this museum and learn more about her activism. Why so important to be tapped into that? Rosa Parks has been seen as in some ways a one-dimensional figure. She was more than one-dimensional. She was textured. She was layered, not unlike all the rest of us human beings. None of us are one-dimensional, but that's the frame in which the mainstream media has presented Rosa Parks to us, this one-dimensional frame. But here comes Donna Beisel and the Rosa Parks Museum at Troy University in Montgomery saying, no. We're going to expand this out and give you a 360 view of who she was, including her work as an activist. We'll pick this conversation up there when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on!
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
An official message from Medicare. Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money. Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Find what you love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
I got the champagne. Everybody's glass.
KBLA Talk 1580 congratulates our own Keith Underwood, host of the weekend entertainment show Black in the Green Room, on his recent honor at the annual National Arts and Entertainment Journalism Awards. Keith received a first place award presented by the Los Angeles Press Club for his entertainment reporting, and we couldn't be prouder. Congratulations, Keith, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Donna Beisel, who is Director of Museum Operations at the Rosa Parks Museum at Troy University in Montgomery, Alabama. They have a new exhibit featuring never-before-seen photos of the mother of the civil rights movement. You're making the point earlier, my time is getting tight, so let me just get back to you right quick. Tell us more about why it's important to the museum and for all of us, in fact, to see Rosa Parks as more than just a one-dimensional figure.
Well, for the longest time, the narrative that was shared of her was that she was this little old lady who was tired from working all day, and that's why she refused to give up her seat. And that is not the case. She was active in social justice work for 2 decades, really, before her arrest on December 1st, 1955. She was very active in the NAACP. She was a sexual assault investigator. She would travel throughout the state trying to get justice for these victims, largely at the hands of white perpetrators. She was a staunch supporter of women's rights, labor unions, all of these things well before that stand in Montgomery. And then for really about 5 decades after her bus stand, she was still active. She moved to Detroit in 1957, went to work for Congressman John Conyers in 1965, and continued working in those areas, as well as she was on the board of Planned Parenthood. Many people don't realize that. And so she was active in all of these different areas of social justice. But one of the through lines was really criminal justice reform and the disparities in the criminal justice system between the way it treated Black citizens and the way it treated white citizens.
Yeah. I love the name of the exhibit. Tell the audience the name of it.
It is Rosa Parks, A Life of Being Rebellious. And that actually came from Dr. Jean Theo Harris, who is the author of The Rebellious Life of Mrs. Rosa Parks.
Yeah.
And Dr. Theo Harris has been trying to get a Rosa Parks specific exhibit, on the ground and running for quite a while. That all comes down to funding, obviously. And so we are able to, again, start with this temporary exhibit in the hopes that we can raise the funds for the permanent exhibit in a couple of years.
I love that. Rosa Parks, A Lifetime of Being Rebellious. This museum, the Rosa Parks Museum in Montgomery, if my recollection is correct, it is on the spot where she was arrested. It was built on that spot, correct?
Absolutely. We are located on the spot where she was arrested. We have a historic marker right outside our front door that denotes where the bus stop was, where she was removed from the bus and arrested. And so we are excited to share that story, as well as the rest of her life and the rest of the bus boycott as well, because people seem to think they have an idea of the truth behind the boycott itself. And there's a lot of misinformation out there surrounding that as well.
Yep. When we come forward in our remaining moments with Donna Beisel, we'll let her tell you what you will see when you make plans to visit Montgomery over the next 382 days. To see for yourself this temporary exhibit called Rosa Parks, A Lifetime of Being Rebellious. We'll let her take us inside the facility and give us sort of a virtual radio tour when we come forward in our remaining moments.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
It does indeed with Donna Beisel, Director of Museum Operations at the Rosa Parks Museum at Troy University in Montgomery, Alabama, built on the site of the arrest of Rosa Parks 70 years ago, December 1, just a few days ago. Donna, got a few minutes left here. Give us a virtual tour of the museum and this exhibit. What are we going to see when we get there?
Absolutely. We start with her early life and how her mother and her maternal grandparents especially shaped who she was, and the sense that everybody should be treated equally and equitably, but also to take a stand for herself and for others when she saw that injustice happening. And then it moves through her early days, from raising money for the Scottsboro Boys when she met her husband, or the man who would become her husband, Raymond Parks, all the way through the early work she was doing before the boycott with voting rights, labor unions, those kind of things, through the bus boycott, and then her later life in Detroit and the advocacy work she was doing there, the protesting she was doing there, but also the hardships that she and her family faced as a result of her actions here in Montgomery. She and her husband lost their jobs, couldn't find work, went to Detroit thinking it was going to be this promised land. And she described it as the promised land that wasn't, and all the troubles they faced there. And so it examines both the activist part of her, but also who she was as a person and what she was going through on a personal level.
Yeah, there is. I'm just looking at my clock here. I got 2 minutes left. I think it's enough time for you to tell this quick story. One of the things I love most about this exhibit and these photos are the story of Ms. Wilson and Dr. Finer. Can you tell that story right quick?
I can. That is not in this particular collection. They are working on another one here in Montgomery.
Okay.
But Dr. Finer she wasn't allowed to be a doctor, but she came to Montgomery to Selma to help with the boycott the Selma to Montgomery voting rights march, and to help take care of and treat the people who were participating. They had blisters on their feet and everything, obviously, from walking so much. And in the particular picture, the young woman that she is with, whose feet she is treating, they are both still alive. And so we had an event last week up the street here with Michael, who I mentioned earlier, who organized all of that. And they were able to meet again for the first time since that photo in 1965 was taken. And they were not the only two who were still around. And so at that meeting, there were several who participated in the march who were in some of those other photos. And those photos are being returned to the families and the descendants of those people who were involved. And the ones, including Mrs. Parks, will be returned to her, or copies will be given to her family when they come in February to celebrate her birthday.
Now, this museum is doing some great work, but this photo on the story that you just told is pretty amazing. This black woman, Ms. Wilson, again, needed treatment after the march, and this young lady, June Finer, treated her. And there's a great photo of Ms. Wilson with her feet up, and Dr. June Finer is treating her.
Right, and
all
I think
these
it's important that Finer is a white woman.
That's
and
right.
So I think it is important for people to see that.
That's right. So Ms. Wilson is a black woman. June Finer is a white woman, but she's treating this black woman's feet after this long march. And all these years later, they got together recently, in part courtesy of this museum, and were reconnected. Ms. Wilson, I believe, is now 80, and Dr. Finer is now 90. And all these years after this photo, they reconnected in Montgomery recently. I love stories like that. Before I start crying, let me get out of here. Donna Beisel is Director of Museum Operations at the Rosa Parks Museum at Troy University, Montgomery, Alabama. The exhibit will run for 382 days, the same length as the march, and it is about the rebellious life of Rosa Parks. Donna Beisel, thanks for doing such great work. I'm glad that we have these photos we've never seen before that we can now see when we visit the museum. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your witness, and thank you for this conversation.
Thank you.
Good to have you on. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The Archdiocese of New Orleans bankruptcy case is over. A federal judge approved a $230 million settlement for survivors of clergy sexual abuse. Survivor Tim Trahan says he's relieved.
The pain and the suffering that I've been through will now enable me just to be a stronger person.
The Archdiocese filed for bankruptcy in 2020 after hundreds of abuse claims. A man linked to the shooting of New York Jets cornerback Chris Boyd turned himself into Buffalo police. The 20-year-old surrendered 3 weeks after Boyd was shot outside a Manhattan bar. No charges yet as investigators review surveillance and witness accounts. And Whoopi Goldberg is a great-grandmother again.